So if we want to look at something on more of a practical, like a smaller scale, our scale, if I make a dam, I probably need the water. I want to use it. So this is, I'm going to show you what's called a lock pipe. So a lock pipe is how we put a pipe under the dam so that we have a valve that we can open the valve to take the water out the dam. So then I can use it to water my trees or water my garden, or like Bill showed, the pipe that was coming out of the dam goes to the house to utilize the water for your home. So this is from a gentleman named Darren Dorothy. His company's called Australian Felix Permaculture. And this is a project that he did in Vietnam. And just to show you, because it's Darren's a really good broad scale permaculturalist. He does consulting. So people in Australia, he's probably, I would have to think, I'm not saying I'm an expert on this, but I think he'd probably be classified as the world's best broad scale permaculturalist. Okay? Definitely from projects completed and scale. So this is from his project in Vietnam. The Vietnamese government hired him to consult to make a permaculture research station there to see if the food forest techniques that are promoted in permaculture would work. And if they do, it being a communist country, they would then promote that to the farmers to do. Okay? So he's just demonstrating here a different type of equipment, as we discussed, makes different tracks and compactions. So if you're doing a project like making roads or dams, then you can look at the equipment to make different compactions. So this is called a sheep's foot roller. The idea is that herbivore, like a sheep or a cow, has cloven foot, right? So it's designed over millennium to actually make a divot. So when it walks, it actually wants to make a hole. A little bit different than, say, an elephant. Elephant doesn't really do that. I guess an elephant makes a hole because it weighs so much. But like, say, a sheep doesn't do that. So the sheep wants to make a hole. Why? So the sheep walks and it pushes with the point and makes a little divot every time it walks. And then it defecates, so it's eating grass, and boom, grass seeds come out. The rains come. The rain washes the poo, and the poo falls into the little divot. So now I have water, feces, and seed. And then the grass grows back. So the next time the sheep comes back, what does he have? Food. So that's how how the herbivores have, with their feet, have developed in a symbiosis relationship with the seed from the grass. So the grass goes to seed, the herbivore eats it, puts it into its compost ball, then when the rains come, falls into the divot, regrows. And that's why it's bad when we don't manage herbivores correctly, meaning that we put them in like fences, which are still cages, right? And then we don't let them walk, and then they'll compact the soil so that their feet no longer will make the divot. Then when the rains come, all of that washes down the hillside, and then the grass doesn't grow back because it didn't get reseeded. So we want to see about holistically, we should not allow that to happen. So this is a sheep's foot roller mimicking the pressure. So it presses down, and then they put a steam roller, if you will, road roller, and then the road roller flattens that, and you get a nice turtled back effect. So always remember that roads in your project are also water harvesters. So they're compacted, and when the water falls onto the road, if it is assume that it's turtle backed, the water will go to the ditches, and then you have to ask yourself, where do they go? So the water that falls onto your hard surfaces on your plan, your access, hard surface, where does that water go? So like here, if we have our road that everyone likes, but the water goes to this side at that end to the rice fields, but here it goes into the two ponds. And then up the hillside, it goes to the ditches that bring the water back to the two ponds. So that's how we use that as a water harvester. Same as a swale. So that's Darren. That means he's a good permaculturalist because he's working with no shoes. And he's there showing his master plan design to the operators that are working, trying to show them what's going on, okay? So at this point, they've made a dam, and at this point, this is right above the keyway. So they filled in the keyway, and right above the keyway, they're going to cross the dam with a pipe. But the problem with putting a pipe there is water is really, will find the pipe, sit at the pipe, and one little drop will run down the pipe and create an erosion all the way to the end, and it'll get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then the dam will fall down. So that's a phenomenon that happens, like that one little drop. So people figured out how to alleviate that phenomenon by putting what they call a lock pipe installation, which we're going to see here. So he has PVC pipe, very simple, you can buy that anywhere. He has some PVC plates that he has circles cut into, right? Think about like acrylic. So if you could buy like a piece of an acrylic, you cut the acrylic, use a saw, and then you slide that over, and you're gonna see that he's gonna put silicone. So what happens is if the little drop of water hits the first plate, it doesn't like to turn like this, go around and go backwards. It doesn't do that, right? So, and then even if it did it on the first one, maybe, he keeps stacking those in line. So it doesn't like to do it, so it won't do that. So at this point, they're working on the pipe, they're cleaning it up, and they've slit on their plate. Again, you see him with his daughter, so that's a really good permaculturalist, teaching them early what's going on. In Asia, sometimes it works out that the people learn by watching. So that guy's not really helping, but he is learning. Once he's trained, then he can teach in his own way, again, to the next person, the next person, the next person. So that's just sometimes what we have to accept is if you want to help in culture, you have to also accept the culture's preconditioning. So at this point, he's putting on his silicone, very simple. That's going to stop that phenomenon. They're pushing back the dirt, and communication sometimes also hard. If I'm looking at this soil, it looks like almost 80-90% clay, similar to here to Raktamachat, so it's going to really hold water well. But they should do the lifts, remember? 8 inches compact, 8 inches compact. But sometimes maybe lost in communication, they push too much dirt, right? But since it's such a high clay content, and it probably is going to be fine, and I don't think the dam is going to fail. But if you didn't have really, really good clay, and even if you do have good clay, you should still do it in lifts, right? So he pushed it over, he's going to compact it in, but they'd probably be better to not push that much dirt at one time. So that's cool, that's a lock pipe.